Their magical run in the U.S. Open Cup continues to the quarterfinal against Atlanta United, but it's back to work in the USL Championship for St. Louis FC. Welcome into tonight's match brought to you by the Cheshire Inn. It's strong opposition for St. Louis as they entertain North Carolina FC, unbeaten in 5 in the league. Chris Whittingham and the former Man United goalkeeper Gary Bailey bringing you the commentary. And Gary, we must start with the stunning run in the Cup for the hosts, through to the quarterfinal for the first time, beating FC Cincinnati. And how?
Yeah, in the dying moments of the game, Big Sam Fink gets up and he gets that header in the back of the net. Brilliant header. A great time to score that goal, and a wonderful victory against Cincinnati following on the Chicago Fire victory. And no wonder they're super excited. Well done, Sam Fink.
Incredible scenes at the Worldwide Technology Soccer Park, and it has to be Sam Fink, our electrical connection player to watch after he scored that goal that sends St. Louis FC through to the quarterfinal of the Open Cup. As we can now bring you our defensive keys to the match. They are presented by Fortinet. And Gary, we should start with St. Louis. A little bit of a rocky spell in the league for them.
Yes, certainly in the USL, 2 straight losses, so a nice clean sheet would help, and they need to limit those shots on goals and dangerous crosses. And of course, for North Carolina, they've got the 3rd best defense, so just keep doing the same thing.
St. Louis have the magical run in the Cup, but it's just 1 win in 7 in the league for St. Louis FC. They try and turn it around against North Carolina FC tonight. Starting lineups and first half kickoff is coming up next.
This year we developed Ale d'Or, which is a beer brewed exclusively for the St. Louis Football Club. We've been partners with STLC for coming up on 3 years now. St. Louis Football Club got some Schlafly, call out our Luligan friends on the side. You'll be able to find Ale d'Or obviously out at Soccer Park and then at your local grocery in and around St. Louis, so we're really excited to get it out there in the market. We're excited to debut it in 16-ounce cans for the upcoming season.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to theelectricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce, your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
Tonight's St. Louis FC Academy Spotlight player is Jansen Miller. Jansen began his career with SLSG, moved on to stops with Blue Views and Panathinaikos before returning to the club at the age of 13. Jansen returned to SLSG as a U14 player and has risen through the St. Louis FC Academy system, eventually signing a contract with the first team. Jansen Miller is tonight's St. Louis FC Academy Spotlight.
Live scenes from the Worldwide Technology Soccer Park as we're in tonight's match presented by the Cheshire Inn. Chris Whittingham alongside Gary Bailey for commentary of St. Louis FC taking on North Carolina FC. North Carolina, a strong side in the USL Championship. St. Louis got off to a very good start in the league, but have struggled for form a bit lately. As we now bring you our starting lineups presented by Schlafly. For St. Louis FC, 4 changes, Gary, from the team that lost last weekend to Bethlehem Steel in the league.
Yeah, Thomas Gomez comes in for Jake Finlayson. Gomez in great form, or great cup form. Paris G for Austin Martz. Kyle Gregg for Albert Dikwa, who struggled to score. And Gaia Ben for Oscar Umar, who got a red card last time out.
Yeah, a second yellow in that match against Bethlehem Steel last weekend. And for Tomas Gomez, it's a first start in the USL this season after, as you mentioned, his tremendous run in the Cup. As now bring you the starting lineup for North Carolina FC and manager Dave Serikin, the ex-U.S. men's national team manager Alex Tambakis returning in goal for Darren McLeod among 3 changes for the visitors.
Yeah, the other 2 changes, Stephen Miller comes in for Victor Ebekoyi and Donovan Iwolo for Robert Christo up front. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Iwolo there to try and be the center of the attacks for North Carolina, but they're in good form at the moment, North Carolina, so I'm sure they come into this super confidence.
An interesting predicament for Dave Sarakin to deal with. Mario Slomis, his center forward, who started the year very well, 6 goals from his first 11 appearances, is out due to ankle surgery. And Robert Cristo, even out of the 18 as well. So without really a recognized center forward, Iwolo will do the job tonight for North Carolina FC. These fans had a tremendous night out on Wednesday night. And as you can tell by attendance tonight, word's gotten out. St. Louis FC is the hottest show in town.
Oh, what a great victory over Cincinnati. And before that, against Chicago Fire, I might add. We did that match, and it was great fun, great performance. But the big question for St. Louis, can they take their cup form into the USL?
How do you limit the distraction knowing that you have an incredible quarterfinal against Atlanta United to come, the MLS champions? What an opportunity that would be to win that game. But now back in the league, North Carolina FC get us started just 3 days ago. This ground saw, without doubt, its most memorable moment in the 5 years of St. Louis FC. Sam Fink with a 93rd minute winner to knock FC Cincinnati out of the U.S. Open Cup, progress into a quarterfinal match with the MLS champions Atlanta United. But back to work in the league tonight, and St. Louis's league form needs some rectifying. 1 win in 7 in the USL Championship, and strong opposition tonight, North Carolina FC off another solid 2-0 victory against Sewell Park Rangers. They're unbeaten in 5 in the league and have already won 14 points away from home on the campaign.
Very impressive on North Carolina, but you mentioned the Cincinnati match being the greatest moment in St. Louis history. I think the Chicago Fire match isn't too far behind it. That was another brilliant night. And yes, correctly said, it is a big challenge to how do you get the same excitement from the players and commitment from the Cup. How do you get that in the USL? And if they don't get it right soon, St. Louis, they will find themselves slipping further down in this league position.
Quite a coming together on this near side is DJ Taylor and Paris G, who's into midfield for the first time under Anthony Pulis. Maybe occasionally as a substitute, but I don't normally see him as a left-sided midfielder, as St. Louis will apply the press coming forward. North Carolina doing well to play out of it, but Matt Boehner recovering the ball. Now a bend, taking into the path of Caleb Calvert, all cut out there by Dre Fortune in central midfield. But Paris G, we've seen him come forward in the Open Cup run and score goals. But it's a little bit different doing that from a fullback position as opposed to a wide midfield player.
Absolutely, you have to pick your times a lot more carefully when you leave defense. Make sure you've got cover. This is a North Carolina side who can score goals. They've scored 10 more than St. Louis have. Both have fantastic defenses, by the way, amongst the best in the league. But it's up front that North Carolina have got a much bigger return, which is why Kyle Gregg playing is so important for the home side St. Louis. They need goals, and Dikwa's been unable to provide them. Kyle Gregg is more likely to, and we'll see if he can oblige tonight.
You see Donovan Iwolo leading the line tonight for North Carolina FC. Appeared in 30 matches for the club a year ago as a goal and 2 assists. So a modicum of production, but to lead the line will take a bit more. As Boehner does well to find Russell Cicerone, who sends himself on his way very nicely with his first touch. Driven low towards Kyle Gregg. Aaron Guillen communicating with his goalkeeper and electing to play it out himself. You see the green and blue shirts are coming forward, Gary. They're very much on the front foot to start this match.
Yeah, and it's a good way to be. You're coming off a fantastic US Open Cup match. Why shouldn't you be positive? And you need to turn around your form, so have a go. I mean, obviously you know that North Carolina are going to be dangerous in the counter-attack, so you've got to be sensible, but it's a home crowd, you're in a positive vein of form, and try and keep that positive spirit going. However, having said that, if North Carolina score early, that could dampen the crowd. So a lot of challenges ahead for St. Louis, and I hate to see them have a season where they're great in the US Open Cup and then don't make the playoffs. That would be a disaster. So success in the USL also an imperative.
Stephen Miller laying off for Nazmi Al-Badawi, who comes on loan from the club they beat. St. Louis did on Wednesday night, FC Cincinnati. They had Tommy McCabe from Cincinnati, but he recalled and Al-Badawi sent. His ball attempted to be slid in there and runs harmlessly out of play. Gary, we've done about a dozen St. Louis FC matches together since the start of last season. have to be honest, this is probably the most filled we've seen at the Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. It is truly a sellout on the night.
That's wonderful. I mean, their fans have always been great at St. Louis. If you look at Thomas Gomez, and he has been in amazing cup form. Absolutely stunning against Chicago Fire, which is probably why he gets the nod here ahead of Jake Finlayson. But yeah, the support is amazing. Not just at St. Louis, virtually every ground. It's been wonderful support, fans coming out, but this ground in particular has been a bit special.
St. Louis progressing in the Open Cup with their victory over FC Cincinnati after beating Chicago Fire. But in the league, last time out, last Saturday in Pennsylvania, losing by 3-1 to Bethlehem Steel. Matt Boehner trying to win it there. 3-0 down in the first half and only getting a consolation goal late in the day. This wasn't good enough from Anthony Pulis' men, and he said as much to us. And very manager-like quotes to us in the week as well, saying, we talked to him the day after the Open Cup victory, and he was saying, I went home, I had a few beers, and I was thinking about North Carolina FC. That's the life of a manager.
It's true, and it was a thing we put to him. We said, well, you know, what if you have wonderful US Open Cup success and not USL? He said, we need both, and that's the pressure he has as a manager. He hasn't got time to relax on the Cup success. He has to get it right in the USL. And that Bethlehem Steel defeat was a bad one as we watch the action here.
Chance on here for Stephen Miller. His right-footed effort goes straight into Fanuel Kavita. And now Lewis Hilton going to force Bradley Camden-Febo to get it clear.
Just mentioning that Bethlehem Steel. Bethlehem Steel have been through a terrible run of form. And in fact, lost again today, the Tampa Bay Rowdies at home. And so it was an even bigger shock that St. Louis would lose to a team that played with 10 men for most of the game. They're sending off in the 28th minute, so question marks about St. Louis's commitment in the USL, but I'm sure Anthony Pulis hoping that today the St. Louis fans will see 100% commitment from their team.
And the week before as well, losing to Hartford Athletic, who are currently second bottom of the USL Eastern Conference. Both of those away. This is actually St. Louis's first league match at home since April the 27th. Wow.
Someone have to show them where the locker rooms were.
Now, they have played twice at this ground in the Cup, but in the league, 2 matches have been rained out, they being games to be rescheduled against Memphis and Ottawa, as Kyle Gregg tries to get turned. And now Gaia Bend tries to hit the switch out towards Paris G, but overcooks it a bit, and out for the throw-in.
Just talking about St. Louis's home form, they're 5 games at home so far in the league, 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. So they're a tough team to play on their home ground, and that's what they'll be hoping that tonight, this evening, it's not quite night time, it's evening time, that they will be able to use that home support and that success at home to get themselves back on the winning league trail.
Also played at this ground twice in the Open Cup, won both of those matches. The third one, this ground was unplayable for the round of 32 against Chicago Fire. They played at nearby Lindenwood University. SG plays it out for Russell Cicerone. And a bend. But his scoring streak in the Open Cup snapped, but he wouldn't care. Scored in the 3rd round against Ford Madison and in the 4th round against Chicago. Here's Camden-Febo, took a nick off of Yamakani Chester on the way through, and now counter-attacking chance on here as Iwolo can charge forward. Iwolo with options either side, he'll go it alone, and sky it to the adjacent pitch.
And sky it he did. He got through so well, gets himself within distance of a shot there. Look, he's got space, loads of space, in fact, to operate in, and eventually gets closed down by Sam Fink, but I say again, can you not test the keeper? Can you not keep it down? You know, it's just too easy for a goalkeeper there when he just waves it goodbye over the crossbar. You want to be testing him, see if he can hold on to the shot or whatever. So that first little chance for Iwolo goes a begging.
Iwolo, a player who a year ago scored 4 times in a league match against Atlanta United 2. So on form, be a threat, and to keep his shots down. Here's Matt Boehner. Certainly get forward, trying to play it towards Kyle Gregg, who returns from injury tonight. Has had a couple of substitute appearances, one 45 minutes against Bethlehem Steel in the league, and then a midweek coming on for about 25 minutes in the Cup. As you have a look at the foul committed here by Greg.
Tries to go around Greg, doesn't he? It's one of those, should the referee give it or should he not? It's not really a major foul, but he gives it nonetheless. But to your point about Kyle Gregg, I think they've missed him. He's such a good player, holds the ball up well, creates chances, and I think he'll be welcome back.
Stephen Miller as North Carolina FC fly forward. A key tackle in from the hero on Wednesday night, Sam Fink. Al-Badawi. Very attacking lineup from North Carolina FC. Normally a holder in either Graham Smith or Victor Ibukoyi in the center of the park. But it's Spies, Fortune, and Al-Badawi who all can get forward. It looks Al-Badawi the most withdrawn at the moment. DJ Taylor. Yamakani Chester scored in North Carolina's 2-0 victory against Swope Park Rangers. As did Dre Fortune, both in the opening quarter of an hour, as the cross comes in from DJ Taylor on that right-hand side. And it comes off of Camden Feo last. Now for the corner.
Good pressure from the visitors, North Carolina, and you were talking about away form. And of their 8 games away, four wins and 2 draws. They're a good team, North Carolina, on the road.
Interchange there between Fortune and Spies doesn't quite come off, and a key tackle in there sends Russell Cicerone on his way, but he's alone at the moment, waiting for options to come forward. Greg is coming, as is Paris G. Cicerone is going to try and hit it towards Paris G, and it's a good ball as well. Comes the 24-year-old Canadian. Onto his right, the tackle came in, and a free kick for St. Louis FC. Well won by Paris G. And a free kick opportunity created from the counter-attack as the tackle came in from Dre Fortune.
Paris G just waiting for the lunge and then pulls the ball wide. Why would that be important? Well, can I throw in 2 names? Lewis Hilton and Sam Fink. He's won himself a free kick in a great position for them to get a header on target. There is Lewis Hilton. Very accurate. His manager speaking very highly of him during the week. Anthony Pulis saying with Lewis Hilton's accuracy and Sam Fink, his heading ability, then what a great combination they are.
And Hilton and G over it, usually over St. Louis free kicks, will have a righty and a lefty as the threat, but it's usually Hilton who will take, as he does here. Goes near post! And I'm not sure Alex Tambakis knew much about it, as Hilton's free kick effort goes into the side netting.
It does. I think the keeper had it covered at the end. He was a bit surprised that he would try and nick it in the near post, but eventually you'll see the keeper comfortably getting across. Is that a wasted opportunity with Kyle Gregg in there and Sam Fink? Why don't you stick to what works? But they were trying to catch the keeper out, and the keeper would have had it covered if it was on target.
Alexander Comcia, the Canadian, and Caleb Calvert, making a 5th start in the league tonight for St. Louis, crashing in there and giving away the free kick. Caleb Duvernay, first player to go through the full setup at North Carolina Academy and U23 side. Now in the full USL squad, making his 3rd start. Dave Sarachan, the manager, has noted that he's getting to know his squad. He wanted to give the players that he brought back from a year ago an opportunity to prove themselves and see if they can earn a regular spot in the team. Looks like Duvernay have taken it. Fortune. Al-Badawi at times almost looks like he's splitting the center backs. It's a poor ball there. And a throw in for St. Louis. It is the first ever meeting between St. Louis FC and North Carolina FC. North Carolina joining USL a year ago in the Eastern Conference. St. Louis was in the West, but the regional split changing, and St. Louis now in the East.
There's one bit of credit one has to give to both these teams. They have 3rd best defense level on 11 goals conceded each. 3rd best defense in the USL. So great achievement by both teams and so hard to break down. It's an attack that North Carolina have produced more goals.
As Chester comes off this right-hand side here, Stephen Miller approaching Painter. Will elect to settle here with Al-Badawi. A chance to slide in Iwolo on this right-hand side. Here's Iwolo. His first touch now onto his left, again laying it back, and perhaps just a bit of overplaying from North Carolina as Cicerone can charge on his way.
Just wonder, could Iwolo have had a shot there? He's in the box, he's got a chance to shoot. Maybe the keeper parries it, somebody else knocks it in, and instead he comes back, gives a bad pass, and they're on the defense. So I think his choice there was probably not the right one.
Famel Kavita doing well to play out. This has been the central defensive partnership, Sam Fink and Famel Kavita, in every league match for St. Louis FC. As Boehner's ball just a bit behind Greg, who can attempt to win it back. And Aaron Guillen a bit annoyed the lack of a foul call.
And that's what Carl Gregg brings you. He's always nipping at your heels. And I think as a centre-back, you start to worry because when you get the ball, you expect him to be kicking around your legs and giving you problems. And that's what makes him almost like a first line of defense for St. Louis.
Trey Fortune, his third year with the club, signed as a very young man in NASL, now getting a regular run in the side as Duvernay is allowed to run all the way. And lay it off with Fortune. And Spies. Along with Comcia and Taylor started every match as the cross it swung in. Stephen Miller getting something on it will come to Taylor. Now Chester. Yamakani Chester. That's poorly given away there as a pair of runners going in the same direction vacates the space for Paris G to intercept. And now Cicerone with a nice first touch once again, but covering well Stephen Miller, who has a defensive background as a right back in NASL, as the tackle came in there from Kavita through Iwolo, and a free kick awarded there by John Freeman.
Referees are very strict these days about coming in behind attackers. You can't play through the back of an attacker, you can't stick a foot in. Not much of a foot is there, but it's enough for the referee to say to Kavita, no, it's against the rules. These days as a centre-back, you almost have to stand up and let the striker hold the ball, and only when he turns can you then try and get it off him.
St. Louligans in full voice, but it's a free kick from North Carolina. What can Trey Fortune do? Elect to leave it short here without Badawi. Carve out the window to shoot. The tackle came in. Frustration there from Calvert that there wasn't a fellow green and blue shirt there to recover the ball. They maintain now through Matt Boehner. Might have expected a bit of a cagey affair given these two teams' defensive records. Strength and solidity at the back for both these sides shining through at the moment as the switch is hit towards G. Flying in Chester will still come kindly here for Paris G, but another strong tackle in from Yamakani Chester. He starts the counter-attack now through Spies, who leaves a lot of running to do for Chester. Fink had it well read and covered.
It's a little bit of testing each other out from both sides, you know, where the weaknesses, the white shirts just waiting, allowing St. Louis to have the ball up until a certain point, and then here we go, they're the press, let them have it back there, and then they stand off them, just waiting to see if they make any errors.
Cicerone trying to go all the way. Another tackle in from Duvernay. St. Louis just being stonewalled at the moment as Spies plays it over the top. Tomas Gomez not a lot to do so far. Hangs on to that one, the St. Louis-born goalkeeper.
I guess if you're a neutral, you're looking at this thinking, these are two of the best defenses in the USL. Let's hope there's a goal soon, because once there is, somebody's got to come out and chase the other team. All the time it stays at 0-0, the defenses will be on top. Let's have a look, is this a foul or not on Cicerone? Cuts inside. No, the ball was won cleanly and he just ran into the back of the defender, so nothing going there.
Away by Comcia. say now that there's a goalkeeping competition on for St. Louis FC, given that Fenlison has started every match in the league. Now Gomez goes on this great run in the cup. He gets to start tonight. You say it's a battle for that place in the St. Louis team.
Oh, yes, it is. It is, and I've always hated that as a keeper, because you want to get in and get settled, and when there's somebody equally as good knocking the door, the manager's in a difficult situation. He's going to try and give you both a chance. He's going to try and get the one to push the other to greater heights, which is fair enough from the manager's point of view. And you never know whether you're in or out.
This cross gets delivered. It's well taken towards Stephen Miller, who couldn't quite direct it on target. It was a lovely idea there from Ben Spies, and the skipper couldn't direct his effort on target.
Look at it again, and ball coming in from Spies. Nice little bit of skill out there. Chips it in with his left foot. Yeah, the shot not really causing Thomas Gomez any problems. Yeah, if Gomez stays in, he's thinking one mistake and Finlayson gets back in, and that generally pushes both goalkeepers to play better, but it can also force you into the odd error because you're trying to over-impress.
Touch there from G, but Greg will lay off there for Calvert. Now a chance on the counter-attack here. Again, Spies trying to play the ball towards Iwolo, who can get turned to the penalty area. The Cameroonian laying it off for Ben Spies. And again, North Carolina attackers just having a bit of difficulty keeping their efforts down.
And you've got to test the keeper. You might just misjudge it, and you put it over the bar, then you've got no chance of scoring. Ben Spies, by the way, pulling the strings in that, he's wearing number 10, and he's playing the sort of number 10 position just behind the strikers. And he looks like he's going to be very influential here this evening.
Well, running to do here for Paris G as the ball gets sprayed out to this left-hand side. Well taken to run it. Taylor, his left-footed deliveries in towards that back post. Greg was arriving, and he left a bit too much there for Aaron Guillen, and a free kick awarded.
It's a good header from Guillen. He was going to get hit when he went up, and he took the knock and made sure that he got on the end of that. It's a good ball in from Paris G. Have a look. And Guillen knows that he's stretching, and he has to get up, and then he gets pushed and shoved in the air from Kyle Gregg, but that's great defending.
Former FC Dallas man doing well to win in the air. Here's Chester off the flick on from Iwolo. Yamakani Chester onto his left. Chester! Taking a deflection on the way through, but Tomas Gomez had it covered at his near post.
You're not going to beat Thomas Gomez in the form he's in at the moment with that shot, but at least for Chester, it's an effort on target. Good bit of skill there. Doesn't quite connect it, does he? He sort of drags his foot over it a little bit. Gomez quite comfortably scoops that one up.
You would have imagined St. Louis FC were in the headlines in St. Louis this week, and you see the bump in attendance. I really hope that those are the moments. I saw in the social media reaction after the match, there was one fan who said he took his 9-year-old son to a match for the first time, and now he wants a jersey, he wants everything, and he's all in on St. Louis FC because of that night. And that's what these runs in the Cup can do.
Absolutely they can, and it's it has been a great support for St. Louis anyway, but the Cup run adds to it, and you get new fans for life, hopefully. And I've always said to you, it's on my bucket list to go and stand with the St. Hooligans, and
we'll have to go together.
Yeah, it's going to be such a fun event. And even when the team hasn't been playing well, they've still supported them, they've still played the music. And not just St. Louis, we saw it at New Mexico, fantastic crowds there, Phoenix Rising. The USL has some wonderful fan bases.
North Carolina as well, regularly bringing the thousands through. Carry North Carolina's Chester again, trying to cause a problem. Camden Fewo now not going to allow him that space, and doing very well to win the ball off him. Going down, the assistant's right there, and does finally award the foul.
Big strong defender, isn't he? Camden Fewo. They just used his body throughout that, won the free kick, and also won a bit of sympathy from the referee the next time those two bump together. This will be in the referee's mind there. Chester has the ball, but you can see the strength of Camden Fewo. Gets his body in front there, then keeps his body between Chester and the ball. Eventually wins the free kick.
Born in Paris, but grew up playing football in Calgary, in Canada. Bradley Camden Fewo. certainly has a physical element to it at the moment as a Ben goes sliding in to win the ball. Hilton. He's not really affording space to play out. Hilton forced to send it long, and Alexander Komsia sending it long, and Iwolo heading it out to touch.
It's an important match for both these teams. We've talked about St. Louis and how they need to get back their form in the USL, the sort of same form they show in the Cup. But you look at North Carolina, win here today, and they go joint second. It's a fantastic achievement. A lot down to their coach, Dave Sarachan, and experience he's able to bring, and especially as a former US coach. He's coached at the highest level, so he's bringing that to North Carolina, and let's say sitting in second place should they win tonight.
Ahead of a big tilt as well at home against Nashville next weekend.
Oh yeah, big game coming up there.
Free kick for North Carolina FC. So 26 points from 14 matches is a solid return that certainly has North Carolina FC thinking about what they can do in the playoffs beyond just making it. Here's Taylor. Fortune. And Chester trying to play it back and went straight into G. The air taken at him for just a moment. Heard the thunk of that ball coming off his chest as Greg continues to put in the work. St. Pulis has told us he judges his attackers on their defense as well as their goal outputs. Greg certainly putting in the hard yards tonight as Chester, infield here for DJ Taylor, trying to get turned onto his favorite right. We'll lay it off here with Chester. Well-returned ball as Taylor can measure the cross away by Samuel Kavita. Will come here for Duvernay. Will try and have the hit first strike. He goes into the feet of Iwolo. Greg, or rather a Ben doing well. Come back, knot it down. Here is Cal Gregg. As Caleb Calvert was making the run, Cicerone tried to meet it. Well, cut out there by Komsia. Out of college at the University of North Carolina. Started every match, so certainly earned the trust of Dave Sarachan. St. Louis is the first of 3 matches in the league before they play that quarterfinal against Atlanta tonight here at home against North Carolina, then a trip to Salt Park Rangers for home match against Loudoun United.
Difficult situation when you've got a huge cup game coming up because you're trying so hard to not focus on that match coming up. And we're all human, and I'm sure Lewis Hilton and a number of others have already penciled that date in, told their family got to come watch us in the quarterfinals away against Atlanta United. But you've got, as a professional, you've got to get that out your mind. You've got to do this job by job, and as a coach, what Anthony Pulis has to do is almost threaten these players with, hey, if you switch off here, you won't even be in that cup team. So, you know, you win the right to play in the cup team by doing well in the USL games.
As G sent it for Kyle Gregg to run. You have to say as well, obviously, those competition for places is important, but there's also a danger of the squad being stretched a bit thin. They've dealt with injuries at times. Anthony Pulis has told us, I have 11 fit senior outfield players. But sometimes there isn't even room for that competition amid the injuries. And is there a concern about a squad being stretched too much?
Yes, there is. It's a very, very valid question. And often coaches will say, well, they don't want a good cup run because they want to focus on their league play. Maybe more so in Europe, but certainly even here, you know, do you want to go quite far in the US Open Cup and let's say get knocked out in the quarters, but have yourself struggling to make the USL playoffs? Difficult for a manager. I think the bottom line is you go for everything. You go for both cup and league because you believe your players can do it. The players believe they can do it. And I guess the owner of the club tells you to anyway.
Right. I'm sure the owner doesn't mind seeing the stands packed tonight here at the Worldwide Technology. Kavita from G.
say this much about cup runs. I'd much rather be in a cup run all the way to the end against more famous opponents than be sat at home watching some other team do it. So I'm sure these players at St. Louis will tell you, hey, yes, we're feeling tired, yes, we're a bit stretched, but hell, bring it on. We're loving every minute of it.
There are 24 sides that enter from the USL Championship, and only New Mexico United and St. Louis FC are the teams left that are carrying the flag. North Carolina themselves getting to the 4th round before losing to New York City FC.
Quite heavily in the end, wasn't it 4-0?
Yep.
Well, it's very difficult against that opposition, that level of opposition, especially if you play them on their home ground. I guess the advantage for St. Louis, both Chicago Fire and Minnesota were Minnesota, or in the second, that wasn't. It was Cincinnati. Sorry. Yep. Cincinnati. Both those games were at home.
Cicerone has a strike, takes a deflection. And Lewis doing well to get forward, but comes to nothing in the end. The Des Moines Menace in the 2nd round, Forward Madison in the 3rd, Chicago Fire, and then FC Cincinnati reach the 6th round of the Cup, the quarterfinal. Take on Atlanta United on July the 10th. 5th Third Bank Stadium in Kennesaw. Here's Stephen Miller coming forward now into the penalty area. Cutting on to his right, laying out for Dre Fortune. He scored last weekend. Tess Tomas Gomez here. It's a decent curling effort, but the goalkeeper always going to have that covered.
Yeah, a little bit easy for the keeper in the end. He's got time to move his feet, get body behind the ball, but this is a positive shot from Fortune, and that's what you're looking for. Just to try and work the goalkeeper. Just a little bit too far out perhaps, or maybe not enough pace behind the ball.
Vita. Camafeo. Both teams being asked to play in tight areas and tight spaces with defenders closing down. Defensive intensity coming from both these sides tonight. There you see under pressure, Boehner giving away.
They work hard, both these teams. They close you down at every opportunity. Their strikers come back and defend as well. So it's not surprising they have the joint 3rd best defensive record in the USL. Just 11 goals conceded. It's amazing. It's a fantastic stat to have on your side. They put a lot of effort into every game, and that's also a problem for St. Louis with these cup runs. Is the matches against the likes of Chicago Fire take so much out of them, and then their natural game is a very, very high-paced, very powerful, hard-working game.
Stephen Miller again afforded space towards the back post, and Iwolo! The visitors in front. St. Louis FC, tremendous in the U.S. Open Cup, but again, behind in the league, Donovan Iwolo making it 1-0 in favor of the visitors.
It's a fantastic header. Puts it back the way the ball is coming. Great cross in, but that's the way to finish it off. To go back in the direction of the cross, perfectly done. Thomas Gomez has absolutely no chance. He doesn't even move. Well, says thank you very much for the help, but what a great finish, and what an excellent cross it was as well. And as you say, once more, St. Louis struggle in the USL. It's amazing how awesome they are in the Open Cup. The USL form just doesn't match it.
You have to say all credit to Donovan Iwolo for rising, leading the line tonight, scoring his 2nd goal of the campaign. Normally plays on the right-hand side as a winger, either flank really. Tonight asked to do a job by Dave Sarakin, and it's a true center forward's goal.
It's a brilliant goal. Always heading it back. It's such an example for any young kids watching. Don't try and flick it the way the ball's coming. Knock it back in the direction it's come. You get more power, and plus you wrong flip the goalkeeper. Thomas Gomez is moving from his right to his left. The ball comes back in the opposite direction. He can't shift his weight. So if it's a good header, it almost inevitably is going to end up in the back of the net. Good cross in as well. Excellent play all round from North Carolina.
He said this game might have needed a goal to open up a bit. We now have the goal.
Donovan Iwolo.
Iwolo.
In the 32nd minute, Iwolo from Miller.
A bend. DJ Taylor. St. Louis struggling to maintain possession at the moment. Comcia away. Camden Fayewa under considerable pressure. Now Spies in some space. Again for Stephen Miller. Right of the first goal. Going to go it alone this time. Straight into the defense. Now Fortune through the area. Trey Fortune teasing the defender. Trey Fortune towards that byline. Peeling it back. And unable to direct it either towards Gomez or his fellow white shirts.
That's a good spell of play here for North Carolina. Have a look at it again. Fortune in the box there, just teasing, saying, is anyone going to put a foot out and maybe I can win a penalty? Doesn't get it in the end. But this is a crucial spell now for St. Louis. 1-0 down, very easy for their heads to drop and say, well, this isn't the Open Cup and we just can't keep playing this many games, or any of the hundreds of excuses that pop into professional soccer players' minds when they can't get a result. And it's got to be the opposite. They've got to toughen up and get back in this game and try and find that spirit that they're able to find in the US Open Cup.
Possession right now favoring North Carolina, 57-43. Only 2 shots for St. Louis, 1 on target. Visitors playing like the home side tonight. He's popping up in some space. Cicerone charging on, trying to slide in Calvert there. The needed intervention now. Badawi trying to start the counterattack. And Iwolo and Chester. Ramakani Chester, the native Malawi. Badawi and Stephen Miller. This is great football here from North Carolina FC. Miller. Badawi sliding in Duvernay. Passing his quality in tight areas. Now Taylor found some space. DJ Taylor sailing into the St. Louligans. Now for the goal kick, but again, North Carolina with real verve going forward.
Yeah, very good going forward, dominating in that attacking phase. Just the final shot, once again, way off target. We've seen that 3 or 4 times in this first half, so something for North Carolina to work on in training, just to try and at least hit the target and make the keeper work. Big question mark for me is, how is St. Louis going to respond? Because this is a very good North Carolina side, playing well, in form, good results behind them. The last 5 matches, 3 wins and 2 draws, so they're in confident mood at the moment, 1-0 up, and it's up to St. Louis to disrupt that mood and do something positive, and I'm not seeing too much at this moment. See bottom right-hand corner, Anthony Pulis and his coaching staff having a chat, and they're probably asking the same question. What do we do? How do we liven this up? How do we get control of this match, especially seeing that we're at home?
St. Louis with really only 3 options from an attacking point of view. Change this one in Austin Martz, Kadeem Bakers, and Albert Tikwa on the bench. And we saw a week ago against Bethlehem Steel, St. Pulis made the changes at halftime to try and change the game, and you wonder if this first half performance, the same might be coming.
Sometimes as a coach, just a change is needed. Whether the change makes total sense, it's just a fresh pair of legs. And I think normally what coaches do at halftime is say, hey, I'll give you 10-15 minutes, and if you don't improve, then I'm making the changes. And then he will pull off a couple of the strikers, an attacking midfielder, and see if that can change their fortune.
Miller. Speaking of fortune. Duvernay. Laying it off with Guillen. As advantage is awarded here for North Carolina, Miller and Al-Badawi. Multiple St. Louis players converging to win the ball back. Hilton. Just see Blue and White go to the ball in droves. Try and win it back. Life just really difficult for St. Louis at the moment. Iwolo.
It's a quick pressing game, isn't it? I'm wondering if Liverpool's a good example of the way they play, but you don't get a second on the ball if you're St. Louis. They're at you the whole time, North Carolina. It's a high intensity game, and they've got players with pace that can run into spaces and take you on and cause problems. So it's a very well balanced side that Dave Sarachan's put together.
fortune. And Yamakani Chester in some space again. You see real patience on the ball for North Carolina in these sorts of areas. 1-2 with Taylor and Spees. Taylor just to try and keep it in play. He could not do so. Flag up on the near side. There's not a rush when they get towards that 18-yard box to create the chance.
It's a very confident side. There's the 1-2. Just knocked a little bit too long. Does it go over the line? Yes. Ooh. Just maybe, but without VAR, who knows? We have to accept the assistant referee's word for it.
We have never looked at it on VAR, though.
True. Yeah, you can see that's a team in good form, North Carolina. 3 wins and 2 draws, last 5, sitting in a spot now where this win would see them second in the table. They're confident in each other's ability. They're confident in their manager and his advice. Which is why, again, the question for me is more about St. Louis. How do they respond? What have they got in their locker to turn things around? And that's going to be the question for Anthony Pulis at halftime. And maybe it's a case of just getting in his players' faces and saying, hey, I want to see more tackles, more desire. You've got a big crowd. They're expecting something there. If it means a bit of bumping and bruising going on out there and making this game a bit more physical, then do it.
Not the right idea there from Cicerone as Greg was bending his run. You do wonder, obviously Saracen has been mentioned a great deal with his work with the national team and how it might be a bit over talked about at this point, given that he's now fully in charge of this side. But you do wonder, as the goal kick was not taken outside of the penalty area, so I have to redo it. You do wonder, not just for the fans, but for the players. Dave Saracen, a guy who's been linked as an assistant manager with Bruce Arena for 2 decades now. He has managerial experience before, but managing the U.S. national team, developing credibility with the players, going, being coached by the U.S. national team manager.
Yep. There he is, talking of him with the white shirt on. You know, could he be with a bigger club? And see him there, sat down. There he is, standing up. Nice chance to have a look at him and the advice that he's given. Could he be at a bigger club with greater expectations and more money? Possibly, but he probably feels that he's building a team for the future here at North Carolina, and certainly those players can believe in their manager. That's what a good manager brings to a club. As players start to believe in you, your tactics, your ideas, and you get the right players in because you've got the experience to know what is going to work and what isn't going to work, and before you know it, you're on the verge of going into second position in the league table, which is what they're about to do here if this score remains the same until the end.
Poorly given away there by a bend. And now Chester with Stephen Miller in some space. Chester with 1-touch passing there. Comes for Taylor. Spees again. Strong first touch in the back heel for Chester. Real confidence oozing through this Carolina team. Spees towards the back post. Boehner needing to provide the header, and a bend anywhere will do. Calvert trying to apply the pressure. Domcia calmly laying it off for Taylor. Now Aaron Guillen. As I mentioned, unbeaten in 5 in the league, 11 points in that period. Bringing in Asmi Al-Badawi in that period as well. Center of midfield as Kavita just lets the ball bounce there. A bit dangerous on this surface. You never know how the ball is going to bounce. Comes to Gomez.
True, but I'm just looking at the legs of the St. Louis players. They look tired. Just a body language. Massive match midweek. They've only had a few days to recover from Wednesday until now. I just don't see the spring in the step, and that's not their fault. It's just the natural course of things. When you have a big game where you've given absolutely everything to beat Cincinnati, it's a massive, massive achievement. No doubt celebrations afterwards. And I just see players walking a lot for St. Louis. They just don't have that same sharpness that North Carolina have. So a lot of work for Anthony Pulis to do at halftime to G this team up and get them producing more and get them believing that they can get something out of this match.
And also have to consider that early stages come out of the traps pressing as G tries to lay it off for Calvert. They still come for Paris G on the edge of the penalty area. Paris G weaving his way through, sliding in Caleb Calvert, the slide and tackle in from Duvernay. And now Calvert having to keep the ball in play. The layoff come here for Miller, recovered by Boehner. Can they create the chance before halftime? St. Louis FC is G now on this right-hand side. To come back here for Fink. Kabita. Keep the pace, passing and the movement going as tackles come in there from Chester, and is a bit over-aggressive there. Bradley Camden-Feo, and a free kick. Chester's certainly been strong down that right-hand side.
Certainly has, but he's given away a free kick. And have a look at the foul again. Camden-Feo is so strong physically. There was a bit of a head, a wrestling head tackle there as well in the middle. So yeah, no doubt it's a free kick. But we're back to the Lewis Hilton ball in for Sam Fink. And you've got Kyle Gregg there as well. OSG is an option for putting the ball in, but more than likely be Lewis Hilton. Now this time, one would think that he will go for the middle and try and find either Sam Fink or Kyle Gregg.
Lewis Hilton. Send the free kick with pace. Arrives in the penalty area. Header came in from Kyle Gregg. It was a bit early for the head to come to it, and you can tell he just couldn't quite direct it on target.
Was their chance? That was what they've played for. Beautiful ball in. Kyle Gregg, if he just flicks it on, he doesn't need to put too much power on it, to be honest. He just needs to flick it on in the direction it was going. And it might have gone in, or he could have headed it for the near post. Either way, he didn't make the right contact. And although St. Louis haven't been fantastic up front, that was their chance. That was their opportunity to get something on target, and it's gone a begging, but it's a warning to North Carolina. Try not to give free kicks away anywhere near your box.
We have a minimum of 1 minute to be added here at the end of this first half. Stoppage time presented by Paycor. Need more time in your business? Contact Paycor to handle your payroll and human resources needs. And there is the halftime whistle. North Carolina FC with an imperious first half performance, pinning St. Louis back and eventually creating the goal. Stephen Miller with the cross for Donovan Iwolo, playing as a center forward tonight, and with a center forward's finish. And at the break, your score: St. Louis FC 0, North Carolina FC 1.
Was Stephen Miller with the cross.
Kyle Gregg, who Iwolo with options either side. He'll go it alone. Jason Pitch. Again, afforded space for it.
Soccer experience, tailgating, cheering, chanting, and much more. It's a party you won't want to miss.
Goal! St. Louis FC! Hit a goal! Manuel Kavita!
Get your tickets at stlouisfc.com.
Junior programs, basically there's two sides of it. There's a rec side and there's a select side, and basically it's for ages 2 to 12.
So you start off by doing a little bit of a warm-up.
It's a developmental, kind of want to introduce the players to the game and kind of all in a fun environment and create a positive experience.
Our staff is first class, our facilities first class, and it's really a first class program.
Louis FC 0, North Carolina FC 1. Your score at the break, Donovan Iwola with the goal for the visitors. From Vancouver, British Columbia to Croatia, and from Eastern Europe to the United States, Paris G has found a home in St. Louis. He is the subject of tonight's Behind the Shield feature.
Paris G's a cool name. It's like a spy's name or something.
Yeah. I always like to think it's from like Greek mythology, but I don't think that's the case. When I was little, I did karate for a little bit. That didn't last too long. I think I had just too much energy, and that stuff was pretty mellow. Other than soccer, all I did was just mountain bike and snowboard. In high school, I was on a snowboard race team. So that was pretty exciting. All my friends in high school were on it, so we went on trips on the weekend, and yeah, it was good. I think in the back of my mind as a kid, I always knew I was going to be a pro. I always thought about it. It was always in the back of my head, and it was just on how I was going to get there. By the age of 11 and 12 is when it kind of separated from, like, say, the first team, second teams, and third teams. You know, the coaches then really believed in me, and I think that's when I started playing right back, like right when I was 11 years old. My freshman year with college, and then in the spring season, since we weren't playing, we had to join a men's team, a local men's team, and that's where I met my coach, my mentor, Johnny Salentic, who really pushed me and believed in me and taught me so many things technically, and that was when he started to push me over to go play professionally in Croatia. It wasn't easy. I really had to get my parents on board. My dad and my mom really wanted me to stay in school, but I talked to them so much, and I was like, just let me go.
Some people go over to Europe and have really good experiences. Some don't, because it is completely different to the States. But I think the players that do go, they get good coaching, but it's a completely different perspective for them. And maybe Paris went there at a good time in his career when he was still really young, and he picked up certain things and learned, and has probably helped mold him into the player that he is today.
Paris G out top. Gives it a go, and Tulsa Roughnecks FC on a strike from the midfielder, Paris G.
I was in Tulsa for 2 years. Definitely learned a lot more when I was in Croatia, but getting used to the league and the style of play here, that definitely helped me over the 2 years to get accustomed to it here.
What was it about St. Louis? What made you say, you know what, I'm going to give that a shot?
I think it was Ant and the organization and how I saw them in the last few seasons. It really pushed me to come over here. The quality of players that I was going to be around and the quality of coaching, because obviously I still want to grow as a player, and coming to this type of environment will definitely help that. My name's Paris G, and I'm a professional footballer.
And Paris G tonight playing in midfield. He's going to be part of the team that's going to try and turn this around. St. Louis FC 0, North Carolina FC 1.
Army will try again, and another. Crossing in, it's a goal! Army will try for goal again and find the back of the net.
The cross keeps the winner! Another brace!
Gallegos cuts it back, Gallegos! How about that
and involve them in the process.
What does it mean to go full Mingo?
Going full Mingo means... What does it mean to go full Mingo?
You know what's funny is I actually hated that when I first heard it.
So you never go half Mingo, you always go full Mingo. And that means just whatever the maximum extreme is, you go for it.
You're showing up there, you're passionate, you're wearing your gear, and you're being loud and proud in the brightest, boldest colors possible.
You're willing to be weird, you're willing to be, out there, stand proud.
Means to put all of your energy, your passion, and your love and support into Forward Madison. We're mere caretakers for this team. The team really belongs to Madison and the people of Madison.
I mean, I think everybody, to a certain degree, is interested in what their crest represents of the club they support. But it also means a lot more when the people that are actually in the stands every week are the ones that actually help make that happen.
The players on the field represent them.
from the get-go with our supporters, you can tell there's going to be a special connection. It motivates me every day to show up to training. It's why I play. And to be able to help foster a sense of community that fans and supporters connect with week in and week out, that's special to me. It's something that I cherish.
We've got a great facility to be proud of. We've got a team to be proud of. What this club is trying to do is offer a real sense of community to people from all different backgrounds, all different jobs, all different ages and everything. It's to each and every demographic as well.
The best thing we did was empower them, deputize them, and not get in their way, just support them.
One of the coolest stories in the brand new USL League One. We're at Electrical Connection halftime at St. Louis FC 0, North Carolina FC 1. Donovan Iwola with the goal for the visitors on the night, as we can now bring you to some of the latest news and notes from around the USL Championship. We see a bit of League One there. And St. Louis FC, New Mexico United, we've talked about it plenty during the commentary. The two teams left in the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup quarterfinal.
Could they meet in the final?
Why not? Why not, Gary? Let's do this.
Dream on.
And also we have brand new USL Championship Club coming to San Diego, California, beginning as early as 2020. I saw a picture of the stadium that they're going to be playing at. It looks absolutely gorgeous. San Diego is just a gorgeous place to be. And then on Wednesday night, ESPN News will have San Antonio FC taking on El Paso Locomotive, a first time those two Texas clubs go at it. As we can now take a look at the standings in the Eastern Conference and see where this St. Louis FC side is in comparison to North Carolina. North Carolina currently 5th, but as you mentioned, Gary, in the live table can quickly climb up. Look at that congestion in the top 5, 1 point separating 2nd and 5th. North Carolina, on the evidence of tonight, certainly well within shouting distance of those 3 sides.
Yeah, and that's where you want to be. You want to be in a situation where just a couple of decent results, and they have games in hand over 1 or 2 of the teams around them, and they can shoot up for St. Louis. Yeah, they do have games in hand. 13, look at Charleston, battery above them being played 15, but getting very close to being out of the top 10 in the playoff spot. So for St. Louis, they have got to get back to winning ways in the USL. Great cup run is wonderful, but the bread and butter is this year, and they're in danger of falling out of the top 10.
Here is the scoreboard from around USL that is brought to you by Electrical Connection. El Paso Locomotive leading by a 0-0 over Tulsa Roughnecks. Still to come later on tonight, Las Vegas Lights and the aforementioned New Mexico. Now, that should be a fun one out at Cashman Field. Phoenix Rising, Orange County SC, Reno 1868, and LA Galaxy 2 as you look at the USL Championship scoreboard. When we return, we'll have first half highlights and second half kickoff. Your score at the break in this one, St. Louis FC 0, North Carolina FC 1.
The excitement that is sweeping the nation has arrived in St. Louis.
Touchdown and a goal! It's Cicerone!
Fans are loving the authentic soccer experience. Tailgating, cheering, chanting, and much more. It's a party you won't want to miss.
Goal! St. Louis FC! And a goal! Manuel Cavita!
Get your tickets at stlouisfc.com.
Hops with the opposite foot, and then when I say make it bigger, it just means get a bigger V. I think it's really important that, one, they get feedback on what they're doing correctly and what they could do better. Letting them get the repetitions over and over and over again and making sure they're doing it right. Powerful locked ankle touch with the inside part of your foot. This is my opportunity to help them get better and teach them. And that's, what I spend most of my time during training, focused on, is improving that overall technique.
St. Louis FC 0, North Carolina FC 1. Your score at the break. Chris Whittingham and Gary Bailey here for commentary of this one, as we can now bring you our first half highlights. They're brought to you by Maryville University. Score the winning goal at Maryville with personalized education, nationally ranked academics, and Division II athletics. Learn more at maryville.edu, as the strike will come in from Donovan Iwolo.
Well, he was showing what he could do, Iwolo, except for the final bit, which was he didn't hit the target, but that would change later on. This is a little effort by Lewis Hilton trying to catch the keeper out, but the keeper's too sharp for that. He's got that near post covered.
And then Dre Fortune, lovely bit of play, and then testing Tomas Gomez.
Yeah, it wasn't too much of a test. Gomez had time to move his feet, get body behind the ball, and deal with that. But there was going to be a breakthrough in this match, and it comes from this magnificent cross. What a header, though. Absolutely brilliant from Iwolo. The cross from Stephen Miller. That's the magic moment of that first half.
Sending it from whence it came. And a tremendous header, and you see the difference in the shots in that first half, really dictating more than even the possession figure, the difference between the two sides in the first half.
Very much so. 12 shots to 3. Look, not too many of North Carolina's shots were on target, only 2, which is a very low percentage, but it shows you they had the ball, they were within shooting distance, they were positive, and they wanted to move forward. But I guess the biggest stat of all is they got the one goal that counted, and what a beautiful header from Iwolo, back the way the ball came, and it gave the keeper Tomas Gomez absolutely no chance whatsoever.
Both teams coming back out onto the field, and I've already spotted one halftime change from Anthony Pulis as Kadeem Dakers has come on. We'll get full confirmation of any changes here in a moment.
Yep, he has to switch things around, and he has to get his team fired up, and it's going to be a changing personnel. I reckon they're going to come out more energetic, maybe a bit more physical, get in the faces of North Carolina, but the coach has got to turn things around, and he's going to try every trick in the game he can, Anthony Pulis, to get his team back winning in the USL. That's absolutely vital, and they're in danger of falling out of the top 10, St. Louis. Important second half coming up.
And we have had 2 halftime changes. Paris G has come off for Kadeem Dakers. Albert Dikwa comes on for Caleb Calvert. Trying to change the shape of this match, Anthony Pulis, and he probably needed to after a tremendous first half performance from North Carolina FC, as St. Louis get us started here in the second. Matt Boehner now trying to win on the ball. And taken off of there, a pretty strong tackle in from Dre Fortune. And John Friedman going to stop play to have a talking to with Dre Fortune.
That's a very positive mood as we look at that bad tackle there, and quite rightly blown up by the referee. A bit of shoving and pushing going on as well. We said it would get physical second half, and that's what you've got to do if you're the losing team. You get out there and you ruffle some feathers, and they've come straight out and done that, St. Louis.
And for his tackle, Dre Fortune has received a booking. So, yellow card for the central midfielder. He did score in the last match, and it's probably the brace of the season away to Tampa Bay Rowdies. Their 3-1 victory against a side that have only lost once, and it was to North Carolina FC. That's 16 matches.
Shows what a good team North Carolina are, and what a massive job there is for St. Louis in this 45 minutes that remains.
Lewis Hilton, Kadeem Dakers over the free kick. Hilton with 6 to aim at on the edge of the penalty area. Dakers leaving it for Hilton. They with plenty of pace. Strong header away there by Taylor. And now Matt Boehner just trying to send it back towards that mixer, and Fink doing well to recover it. He's trying to dig it towards Greg, who can lay it off here for a bend. So towards Albert Dikwa. Here's Albert Dikwa! Out of halftime from St. Louis FC. Albert Dikwa, impact substitution. You bet. Inside of 2 minutes, it's 1-1.
He's giving his manager a hug for giving him the chance to get on. He said he would score, no doubt, at half-time, and he's popped up with one within minutes. What a good ball in, though. Great vision to give that ball, but an excellent finish. And that's what they needed. So much so, St. Louis, to come out positive, to get themselves back in this match.
Great ball slid through towards Albert Dikwa. And we've talked plenty, Gary, throughout the season. He's a player who's led the line for St. Louis and yet to have either a goal or an assist, as that goal was delivered by Domino's. And the production hasn't been there, but the effort and the chances have been, and finally he converts for his first goal of the year.
He gives his manager a hug, because no doubt Anthony Pulis has told him, be patient, it will come.
As the chance comes through the area there from Caleb Duvernay. Cut out well. And now the fans that have shown up in their droves have seen a goal and a response from their side. It's game on here in the second half.
It certainly is, and credit to Anthony Pulis. We said he'd have to do something at halftime. He has. He's changed the personnel. Kadeem Dakers was a positive mood. So too was Albert Dikwa. And right away it's paid dividends. And it was a tired and struggled first half for St. Louis. And as a coach, you only a limited number of things you can do. And I think one of them is to say, get out there and get stuck in and be more physical. And the other is to change up your personnel and try and bring a positive approach and some fresh legs. And wow, I think the coach would be delighted with the way that worked out for him.
Albert Dikwa there now just riding the challenge. You wonder as well what tactical changes he would have made just to get North Carolina FC off them a little bit. Pressed so well in that first half, made life so difficult for them playing out. That time was just a second ball from a set piece. Will it look different in open play as Hilton slides in Boehner. Cicerone wanted the ball to feet, but he lays off for Lewis Hilton. Will now cross it towards Kyle Gregg. Pomcia. Now Dikwa trying to get in there and win the ball in the air, and his fortune away. Iwolo to put Kavita under pressure. Now Iwolo can recover the ball, but whistle for handball.
Yeah, a little bit of a handball there. The ball knocked down onto Iwolo. Didn't have much chance to get out of the way, but referee gives it. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how North Carolina respond with their high-pressing, tight game, which they're doing there. Look at that. They give you a chance to breathe, do they? But can St. Louis play out of it with Kadeem Dakers? Have they got a bit more width on that left-hand side? With Albert Dikwa, can he hold the ball up? It's very important that the strikers do hold the ball up for St. Louis and take the pressure off this midfield that gets harassed every time they get the ball.
Gregg. Well to take down now Kadeem Dakers, a substitute with his first involvement. Kyle Gregg now to try and play the cross towards Cicerone. Hit with plenty of pace, but the winger couldn't get a boot to it. Now Dikwa to play it out the other side, and Hilton. 1-2 here with Cicerone. Dink returned towards Hilton, might still come for him. He had to let it go because he was offside. Now Dikwa going down, referee not interested. Goal kick.
That's a close decision. To see that again, Dikwa got in front and got kicked. Let's have a look. Firstly, what a cross from Kyle Gregg. Absolutely brilliant. Cicerone inches away, only inches away from that fantastic cross. So they're much more positive in attack. No question about that. Let's have a look. Was there a tap? Was there a tap on his heels there from Gian? Close one, but not given.
It was just more of a missed attempt to play the ball, and he catches the player.
Then it's a penalty.
Should be a foul and agreed a penalty.
Did he make much of a contact? Did the referee just say, well, he brushed against you and you fell over? That's maybe what the referees tried to decide.
Stephen Miller trying to slide in Iwolo, but Fink able to just put it out for the throw-in. Strong work from the central defender from Edwardsville.
Wow, what a good start to the second half, though. That really brought everything to life. An equalizer, penalty appeals, it's all happening.
To be too harsh on the first half, but probably more action in the opening 6.5 minutes than we saw in the opening 45 minutes.
I think you can be harsh in the first half if you want, or I'll do it for you. Yeah, it was a feeling out process, and one in which St. Louis just battled to get any energy, which given their success midweek, you understand, you know, it's a massive match. Winning in the US Open Cup against Cincinnati, and the press and the celebrations and all the psychological stuff you deal with, you get into the next match a little bit drained, but they're back in the game now, and can they go on and win it?
Dikwa, you can see his calmness on the ball even under pressure. It's perhaps what they were missing in that first half, St. Louis. A bend. Just trying to pull North Carolina apart, and finds a good ball for Cicerone. Again stung through. Dikwa with a touch! Great save, Tambakis! Recovered well. It wasn't the cleanest contact from Albert Dikwa, but it looked like it was going to sneak in. Last-ditch goalkeeping there from the Greek Tambakis.
It's a great ball in from Cicerone, and you're right, he does get a quick shot there deep, and it just forces the keeper into a save, and the ball comes loose for a moment. You're thinking, can Dacres get on the end of it? The keeper kicks it away from trouble, but it's a different St. Louis now. They really are attacking with style.
Hilton over the corner. And the cross move with so much pace, Tikwa can really only direct it on target as it's back post towards Fink. It's nearly that combination again, but Fink unable to get his right boot to it.
Maybe this is the best way for St. Louis to play, because against a very good North Carolina side, they need to get on the end of set pieces like this, and they need to attack more, and that's what the changes have made. Kadeem Dacres and Albert Dikwa has given them more sharpness in attack. And they've got North Carolina on their heels, and sometimes when you're up against a good side, the best thing you can do is attack them and make them defend.
Fink and Iwolo nearly getting into it, but Iwolo tried to turn that into a chance to get in behind him. We play on. Camden Fewo. St. Louis now looking like the home side. Cicerone doing well, pick the touch infield. There's an extra ball on the pitch, which normally should stop play, but we play on. The 1-2, Russell Cicerone! Strike straight into Aaron Guillen. He wanted handball. And I think Aaron Guillen is not at all pleased with that appeal.
That's a nice little move, but Albert Dikwa is busy kicking the ball off the pitch. He might have been available in that space there to have got on the end of it. Cicerone does, and it's well blocked.
You do wonder if he doesn't do that, then the referee might have stopped play for there being a second ball on the pitch.
Yep, possibly so. Isn't there a difference in Lewis now? He's saying his arm was tucked in. Look at St. Louis now. Now it's up to North Carolina. We asked the question first half, what can St. Louis do against a rampant North Carolina side? Now the question is, what can North Carolina do to stop St. Louis from coming at them?
I think you've seen the tactical adjustment from Anthony Pulis is, if you're going to get tied to us, we're going to pull you apart with long balls to wide areas and have players like Abend and Hilton that can hit them. As Fink, it's a good ball to the top towards Tikwa. We can just keep it in play. Tikwa towards Greg. That was too close to the goalkeeper, Tambakis. Tikwa doing incredibly well to get on the end of that.
There again, the long ball, as you said, they're trying a different approach, and it's really causing North Carolina all sorts of problems, and it's playing into Dikwa's hands. He's got the pace. He loves this sort of service, just can't quite get there. He really jams his knee in the process. But it's a different technique, and it's working so well for the first 10 minutes of the second half. The question is, can North Carolina subdue it with their hustle play, their closing down play, or can St. Louis keep on providing these moments of pressure against North Carolina?
Duvernay. See that St. Louis have sort of found a second wind here in this second half. The fans are in full voice. That's the kind of start they would have wanted to see. Duvernay, and now it's St. Louis who are pressing and closing down tightly. Fink doing well to judge the bounce. Kavita playing in the path of Camden Fewo, but work to do for the left back. Chester and Camden Fewo have had quite a coming together on many an occasion on the night. That time, the free kick whistled against Camden Fewo.
Yeah, hard to see just who did what here. Camden Fewo, he's having to struggle to get the ball back. Does he pull it? That's what they're saying. The referee is saying that he pulled Chester back. He's saying, no, I didn't. The referee's given the decision, so game on.
Alexander Comsia. DJ Taylor, who's done well to get forward from his right back position. Alpadawi. Yamakani Chester. Try and play the 1-2, and it's a good return ball towards Chester. Trying to take the right angle on his run. Camden Fewo able to win it back and get it clear. Throw in for St. Louis, or rather, just kept in play. Sure, he managed that, but Hilton to start the counter through Cicerone, read by Duvernay. Hilton wanted the free kick, and now Duvernay charging on his way to slide in Stephen Miller. His left foot crosses towards Iwolo, who tried the tricky flick, and Gomez doing very well to stay behind it.
That's a clever flick, but didn't have too much power in it to bother the goalkeeper, but it was a great ability as the ball comes in. Iwolo has to find a way to get to the ball. Seems with the back of his heel, we can't see it clearly there, but either way he forced Gomez into another decent save, and it just shows you that North Carolina continue to be a threat up front. I just wonder who's got the energy. If I had to pick a team that's more likely to have the energy for the final half an hour, it would be North Carolina. Let's just see if they're able to do that, or whether St. Louis can dig deep and find what's needed to at least come away with a point, if not more.
As Nazmi Al-Badawi has gone down, native of Raleigh in North Carolina, is carrying a bit of a knock. It's coming together here with Cicerone, the high boot and catching a bit. I wonder if it's the plant more than it's the contact there with Cicerone.
He was already wincing before he came down. Maybe he just overstretched a little bit. Maybe it's a hamstring issue. Hard to see. Might even be asking now to be substituted because you can feel that it's going to be a problem. Either way, let's wait and see. Really, we have a match that's perfectly imbalanced now. If St. Louis can dig in and find their cup form up against North Carolina's great league form, then it's hard to see how this match goes. Maybe it ends up a draw. Just stretching the thigh muscle in the front by the looks of it.
And while we have a bit of time, we can tell you scores going around the world of soccer. First off, the United States men's national team 5-0 up on Trinidad and Tobago, scoring in the first half through Aaron Long, and 4 goals in a period of 12 minutes from Jossie Zardes, who was a brace, Christian Pulisic, and Paul Arriola for a 5-0 advantage for the U.S. national side, recovering well from a pair of poor friendly results. In the Eastern Conference in USL, final earlier today, Bethlehem Steel 1, Tempe Rowdies 2. Indy 11 beating Atlanta United 2 by a goal to nil. Aliune Diakite with the goal for Indy. Finished 1-1 between Louisville and Charlotte Independence. Pittsburgh Riverhounds 3, New York Red Bulls 2-0. Nico Brett, Steven Dos Santos with goals for Pittsburgh. At the half right now, Birmingham 1, Hartford Athletic 2. We'll keep you up to date on more results as they come in. As Duvernay trying to win in the air, and Boehner caught a bit too much of him in the judgment of John Freeman. Anthony Pulis and the supporters not pleased with that decision.
Well, managers are never pleased with a decision that goes against them. But I think Anthony Pulis just wants his team to get stuck in, wants them to challenge for everything, and when they do like that and get blown up, it's annoying for him. It's been a totally different St. Louis second half. It really has. And you've got to give the coach a fair amount of credit, and the players who came on, Dakers and Dikwa. It's not job done. As far as the St. Louis fans are concerned, they need to do more.
Cicerone trying to slide in Dikwa, now 1v1 with Guillen. Albert Dikwa, still Albert Dikwa! Unable to direct it to either corner. And straightforward work there for Tambakis. Well, Taylor to charge on, afforded space. Now Cicerone trying to come across and win the ball. And catching a bit of Dre Fortune, advantage is given. Duvernay going to stop on it. And now we'll pull it back. And the referee going to adjudicate a yellow card here for Russell Cicerone.
It seemed like a nasty foul. Let's have a look at it again. Ball comes across. Cicerone gets it, and oh, actually he does. He kicks out. He kicks out when the ball's gone, literally a second earlier. So over-exuberance from Russell Cicerone, quite rightly gets the yellow card. And the referee has given the free kick as well. He was playing on, but there was no advantage, so he calls it back.
And earns him the yellow card. Interesting the way that the referee handled that. And also the way that Caleb Duvernay handled that. I think he wanted to see the play stopped so that they can get the free kick and have that yellow awarded.
And get treatment for the player who is down. Pulis not happy. Wants his team to start closing down and doesn't want to lose the high energy that came out of the locker room with. We were talking about what St. Louis have to do. Okay, so of course, if you're a North Carolina fan, you're saying, hey.
And the header coming in. Tomas Gomez having it covered. Donovan Iwolo threatening in the air again.
I was going to say, hey, we need chances on goal. And as I said it, there was a chance, but well, you need chances that lead to goals, of course, but If you're a North Carolina fan, you're thinking this is a team that's tired from their cup exertions. You know, we need to push on and we need to show more energy and try and get the 3 points to go way up the table. So, as I say, perfectly balanced this match. Could go either way.
Cicerone. See St. Louis just a bit more switched on and prepared to play against this pressure from North Carolina FC as Dakers pops up in a easy space there. Sliding out for Camden Fewo. We play on after, it looked like it might have gone over the line. Now running at Taylor, and well played there by DJ Taylor. An academy product for North Carolina FC. Now Miller laying it off for Duvernay. Fink. And Cicerone in some space. Dequa to his right was the crossing option towards Greg. Now Cicerone towards that byline. Now getting turned 1v1 with Duvernay. Looking for the option. Laying it off for Matt Boehner. Sam Fink. A little top towards Boehner, but there's a bit too much running to do. North Carolina just trying to play out here. Iwolo coming back to get the ball. Quality ball there for Taylor, who charges on. Now Yamakani Chester. The cross coming in towards that back post. And Sam Fink able to get it clear.
It's a good ball in, isn't it? It's in that danger area, the one where defenders are coming back onto their goalkeeper. Sam Fink doing really well to get it away from danger there, but that's a great cross in. It's always going to cause problems. So North Carolina putting some good pressure on the home side.
Now a corner here for North Carolina FC. We'll probably have a hard time calling these final 25 minutes. Gary's will have a change coming on. All these substitutions are presented by Cigna, including the ones at halftime, as Al-Badawi will come off for Graham Smith. Mentioned it looked like he was carrying a knock, and now he'll come off Nazmi Al-Badawi. As Graham Smith to make his 11th appearance of the year, his 7th from the bench. Graham Smith in his second year with the club, joined in a preseason trial. Started 31 times a year ago. And that opportunity and running with it. As now the corner will be delivered for North Carolina FC. And it's towards the edge of that 6-yard area. Well headed away there by Kyle Gregg. And now Cicerone is looking for the right option to start this counterattack. Trying to dig it towards a bend, who slides to win it back, but just gives it to Yamakani Chester. Now Chester, the cross delivered towards the back post, arriving Spies. Boehner is trying to let it run, so he'll go out for the goal kick, but Spies able to get a touch to it. Now it's coming together. Sam Fink, as Boehner and Spies still over it. Boehner having to be very careful to not give away the penalty there. And now Taylor and Chester. Playing it towards Stephen Miller, trying to charge through as well. Taylor, who's vacated his right back position. Now, trying to get something on it, Cicerone, and the foul committed there against him. You can see how far he's drifted from his usual right wing position. And a free kick for St. Louis here.
Let's have a look as he takes the ball away. There's a bit of a lunge and a push. There's not much in it there from Chester, but the moment you bring your hands onto the opponent's chest and there's a sense of any sort of push, the referee is likely to give a free kick. It really is a crucial stage of the match, quite obviously, that the score's level and coming down to the sort of final stretch of 25 minutes. So it's who's going to be the hero, who wants it most.
Nice short ball there from Dakers into the run of Hilton, but just fizzing out. And now Spies try and charge North Carolina on in the counter. Given plenty of space by the central defense. Spies digging out the ball for Stephen Miller. His left-footed delivery is towards Iwolo again. Got something on it, but not enough.
It was a bit of a stretch for Iwolo. It's a good ball in, but by the time he got to it, he was already past that far post. It's a decent ball in. Have a look at the bend of it, but he's too far past the far post, and he hasn't got enough of an angle or the strength to get it back. and give Thomas Gomez any sign of a threat. But I was just looking at Lewis Hilton trying to get back there, and he's struggling for energy. He's tired. There's a few of these St. Louis players who are really, you can see there, Guy Ben's leaning on his hands and on his knees rather. He's picking up a little bit of an injury. And the energy is, they're having to dig very deep, St. Louis, at the moment. And you've got to fancy North Carolina have the greater energy levels. You just wonder if the crowd can't fire up their team to hang in there for the last 20 minutes or so.
Cicerone is doing a ton of running as well. Greg trying to return the favor. Greg trying to slide in and take it off of Taylor. A bit clumsy there as Daker's got a touch to it. Now Dikwa has got fresher legs. Trying to win the ball back. Iwolo. African combination up top. Real quality. Seeing the touches there from Chester. Duvernay. Stephen Miller. Now Dikwa doing well to get in front and win the ball back. Kadeem Takers charging on his way. Out to run it Guillen. Retreating and playing a good ball towards Albert Dikwa. Fine there, now Cicerone. Can he have a strike? Russell Cicerone. Tambakis, oh, he's going to get there.
It's a long way out, and it was a tired attempt at a shot there. It's so important for the likes of Dikwa and Dakers who've come in at half-time for them to do most of the running. There's Cicerone trying to work the goalkeeper, Tambakis, but for me, the energy's got to come from Dakers and Dikwa. They're fresh. They've got good legs. They need to be running around there trying to make life a little bit easier for Carl Gregg, who's been on the entire match. You can see Carl Gregg just trying to close down there. He's finished. He's walking now. So it's a very tired St. Louis team, and that is going to be of great concern to Anthony Pulis.
And Gregg, who's coming back to fitness after an injury. Could probably take off 3 or 4 more for Anthony Pulis just to get fresh legs on, but only the one change left after he made the double switch at halftime.
That was more of a tactical switch. That was to try and get fresh legs up front and cause North Carolina more problems, and it worked absolutely perfectly. And now, if you were to make a switch, it would be just to bring fresh legs on and just try and take the weight off some of those midfielders like Lewis Hilton and Guy Bend, who've run so hard for so long. They're really running on empty at the moment.
Guillen. Spies. Been a real creative engine for North Carolina FC in this match. Donovan Iwolo. Duvernay. Say St. Louis have done well to cut off the supply into the penalty area. A bit better in this second half than they did in the first. Taylor now to play the 1-2 with Stephen Miller. You see North Carolina won't try those 1-2s a fair bit. Trying to create that space. Chester.
Making St. Louis run and chase, and his legs are getting more and more tired by the minute.
Taylor again trying to hit the cross, and there's nobody there. That didn't take a deflection. That's a poor ball there from DJ Taylor.
Seeing Guy Bend again stopping and leaning over in the center of the right side of your picture now. He might have an injury problem and doesn't want to come off. As you say, only one sub left. He's struggling a bit. Important now for St. Louis to get control of the ball. If you're forever running and chasing, then you really will be absolutely finished before the end of the match. Last 10 minutes you'll be walking at walking pace. So you've got to try and win the ball. You control the pace of it. You get North Carolina to run and chase you instead, and that's a challenge here for St. Louis.
Kavita. And Mfeo. Taken down there by Kyle Gregg to try and slide in Albert Dikwa into the penalty area. Now retreating in Lewis Hilton. Quickly towards Boehner, but he'll leave it for Dakers. Cutting onto his left. Kadeem Dakers! A decent strike. Straight at the goalkeeper.
As you say, decent strike. It's just that if it was left or right of the keeper, it might have caused a few problems in the end. Just way too comfortable for Tambakis.
Poorly given away. Depot doing well to touch it towards Kyle Gregg. His effort always blazing over.
Taker's coming in here and, yep, strikes it very nicely, but right down the goalkeeper's throat. If he got it a bit wider or something, it might have caused a few problems. And then yeah, he hits it, and afterwards just falls on his knees, and he battles to get up. Kyle Gregg has given so much in this match. Because as you said earlier on, he is their first line of defense. He closes down, he tackles. Very similar to Luis Suarez at Barcelona, who stops attacks from even beginning, and at the same time, scores them. And that's what Kyle Gregg manages to do, but it takes a lot of effort, a lot of fitness, and coming back from injury, I don't think there's much left in his tank either.
You saw him healed over a bit after his effort. There's a bend. You mentioned St. Louis could do well to keep the ball, but even in possession, they put in a lot of running as well to create passing options against this North Carolina defense.
It's true. They're being harried and chased, but I think you put in more effort to try and get the ball back, because you're forever running to wherever the ball is. When you've got control of the ball, you generally do less work, especially if you're clever enough to make the ball do the work for you. So your quality of passing is absolutely important. But either way, for St. Louis, it's a case of just hanging on for these last 16, 17 minutes or so. And for the visitors, rather, North Carolina, it's going to take advantage of a tiring St. Louis team.
Painter still has the fresh legs to come forward towards Cicerone, who did well to take down, but just ran away from him. It's a decent idea. Didn't quite come off for Russell Cicerone.
Was a good idea. If he'd have managed to turn and control that ball in one move, he had a chance to shoot on target. Just didn't quite pull it off, but it was a good idea.
Fans in the ground, not in the St. Louligans, getting the St. Louligans going. Love that it's fans all over the ground singing here at the Worldwide Technology. Great atmosphere tonight on a gorgeous summer's night. Fenton, Missouri. St. Louis FC and North Carolina FC. Did come off a Duvernay last for the throw-in, taken quickly for Albert Dikwa. Takers. Painter. Sam Fink. You have to imagine the environment and the way that this game has come to life in the second half. Kind of game you need to forget about the cup, be in it, and also feel the importance. North Carolina certainly let them feel this match. You see Lewis Hilton retreating. He just doesn't have a lot left, does he?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He's tried so hard. And that's true for most of these St. Louis players, but there's always a chance they can get a winner in the other end. They've got enough strikers up there with Dikwa and Cicerone and Kyle Gregg and Dakers. They can still get a winner here out of this, and the same can be said for North Carolina, of course. They have the possibility to keep their good run going, 3 wins and 2 draws in the last 5.
Imagine these St. Louis players absolutely knackered at this point. Four matches in the last week and a half, 2 massively emotional nights. Chester, Duvernay in space. I imagine space like these will start to open up as the cross delivered towards Iwolo. Well cut up by Fink, but only as far as the strike of Ben Spies. A bit wild, that, and out for the goal kick.
Well, it would have been a hell of a goal if it had gone in. That ball dropped and he hit it very, very quickly. And positive effort, but very, very difficult to pull off. Now, some more fresh legs. Decision made. Kyle Gregg's coming off.
It is Gregg. All the choices that Anthony Pulis could have made a few players in the red zone, but decided that Kyle Gregg is the player that most needs to come off. And that change is brought to you by Cigna. Austin Martz. It's the 1 league start. Gotten a few opportunities to play in the Open Cup. Scored.
Oh, what a goal.
In the 4th round against Chicago Fire.
The Cicerone cross. And Austin Mart's header. So I wonder if they could reproduce this to get a winner in the final moments of this game.
Dakers. Imaginably Cicerone leading the line with Dequa now that this change has been made. Hilton. North Carolina still with 2 changes available to Dave Sarachan. Martz. Trying to play the 1-2. Boehner. The ball there from Lewis Hilton. Bit of passing play here from St. Louis, and a bend now for Camden Feo. Tackle comes in there from Chester. Now Camden Feo lofting towards Austin Martz. Tambakis doing well to track it in the air.
Tambakis great there. That's when you need your goalkeeper to come pluck it out the air and start you on a counter-attack, which he's done. It was a dangerous ball in, maybe a little bit too much height on it, so made it reasonably comfortable for Tambakis.
DJ Taylor still has plenty of energy as bomb forward here. The cross comes through the area. Dre Fortune, unfortunate to not see that ball come to him. Now Graham Smith, his left-footed effort. Tomas Gomez beating it away. That shot was hit with plenty of pace there from the substitute Smith. And now Dequa. Boehner and Hilton. North Carolina with a couple of chances there.
Yep, I think they're getting on top of this game. You would think North Carolina, but good save from Thomas Gomez. He's been solid throughout this game.
Albert Dequa with Cicerone continuing his run. It's towards Dakers. Strong idea there and well read by Aaron Guillen to put it away for the corner. Take a look at the chance here from Camden Feo. Caught there by Tambakis.
You would expect the keeper to get there. It's got enough height on it, and you would expect Thomas Gomez to save that. He doesn't have to step away, but nonetheless, both good efforts by the goalkeepers. There's always a chance that something goes wrong, and both goalkeepers doing their jobs. And that's why it's still 1-1 with, what, 10 minutes left to go?
And an Electro Savings corner for Lewis Hilton. And the set piece provide the inspiration again for St. Louis FC. Comes all the way through. Fink just caught a bit flat-footed there, and now Iwolo, the touch on his way to start the counter is towards Chester, and Austin Martz doing very well at the back to have it covered and put it out to touch.
They were vulnerable to the counter-attack there. St. Louis, they put everybody up, or almost everybody up front. Now it's all calmed down, and they've got all the bodies back behind them, St. Louis, and now it's up to North Carolina with that good, patient passing game of theirs to slowly put the pressure on.
Again, so much space for Duvernay to take. Playing it through towards Stephen Miller. Took a deflection. North Carolina have their lead back. The tired legs for St. Louis FC showing a bit there, and Stephen Miller adds a goal to his earlier assist. St. Louis 1, North Carolina FC 2.
You're 100% right. It was tired legs. They couldn't get back. There was too much space for Duvernay. Look at this. He runs all the way before anyone comes to him. And he picks him out. Yeah, it's an unlucky deflection, but you know, for Stephen Miller, you're in the box. You have a chance. If you don't buy a ticket, you don't win a raffle. And he has a dip there. He was the one who made the cross for the first goal, and here he scores the second with the help of a deflection. So he's had a hugely influential night here tonight, Stephen Miller.
And the captain doing well. Having an effort, probably trying to get it towards that back post. Sam Fink a bit slow to close down. It takes a deflection off him. He would be forgiven, the hero for St. Louis FC on Wednesday night. I can't remember the last time I've seen a football side look this obviously just tired from so much stress and activity, but the chance is still in here at Martz, trying to find the response again.
One thing you know from St. Louis, they're not going to lie down and die, so expect them to come fighting back here and give whatever they've got left in this match. But again, if you do that, be careful of the counter-attack. North Carolina is so quick to pounce on open spaces and to give St. Louis those problems. And as you say, it comes from tired legs. That wouldn't happen in the first 10 minutes probably, but it's likely to happen in the last 10 minutes. And more gaps, no doubt, will open up as St. Louis have to chase this game.
And he also mentioned it wouldn't happen without 180 minutes of highly intense cup football mixed into their league campaign. Martz and Boehner.
I guess you have to give credit to North Carolina that they weathered the storm after halftime, and it was a storm as St. Louis came at them from every angle. Just calmed it down, and they waited. They've been patient. They've slowly got themselves into the match. They began to get stronger towards the end of this game, and they've taken their chance, fortunate as it might be. And now they've got the lead back.
Cicerone doing well to pop into space. Now Hilton sliding the run of Austin Martz. Hilton. Martz again. Trying to get North Carolina players moving as Hilton will deliver across. Easy work there for Guillen. Taking it off the chest as Fink winning the header, and now Martz using his fresh legs to win the ball for St. Louis. Trying to beat Duvernay for pace, but Duvernay always having it covered. Now Guillen turning into some danger, and again, he's having to get it clear. Come out for the throw, and it did. The judgment of the assistants and the substitutes in the St. Louis bench.
Well, as tight as they are, St. Louis, they've just got to try and dig in and find some energy somewhere. They've come back once from being down. They've got to come back a second time from being down.
A bit more cover in central midfield coming for Dave Sarakin as Victor Igbekoye coming on for Dre Fortune. Igbekoye normally playing as a holder. Come alongside Graham Smith just to see out these last few minutes as this substitution is brought to you by Cigna. Boehner. Left-footed delivery. Headed away by Guillen again. Fink just trying to send it forward towards that area. And Tambakis can take it down and wait the pressure of Decoy to pick the ball up. Do St. Louis FC have it in them to muster up that effort and go and chase the second equalizer?
How can you ask that question when Sam Fink popped up in the second minute to score the winner? 93rd against Cincinnati. Yeah, they have. It's just whether North Carolina will allow them to. They're going to keep pushing right to the end, St. Louis, tight as they might be, but this is a very good North Carolina side, and they're defensively now ahead of St. Louis, obviously, in terms of goals conceded, because they were level going into this match. One of the best, I think the third best defense in the whole of the USL, so they're not going to give anything away too easily. And that's why it's a tough ask now for St. Louis with 5 minutes left and tired legs. And this North Carolina side, who no doubt will work the clock down and keep possession.
Smith. Just a bit of miscommunication there. Poor ball there from the substitute. Good approach. 4 minutes left in the 90. St. Louis, who have one win in the league in their last 7. North Carolina unbeaten in their last 5, 3 wins and 2 draws. It would be 14 points from 18 if they can finish this off.
Two teams with opposing USL form. As you said, looking at the last 5 for St. Louis, if they lose this, it'll be 3 losses and 2 draws. And it'll be almost the opposite for North Carolina, 3 wins and 2 draws. They're going in opposite directions. One's going up the table, North Carolina, very quickly, and one is sliding down very quickly.
A bit awkward there for Duvernay to deal with, but Guillen covering for his teammate. Now Hilton, recognizing that 50-50 was there and tried to win it. Iwolo using his strength to shrug off the challenge there. Doing well there. Hilton, as Iwolo now has gone down, flicking his right hand. And I think St. Louis are just going to get on with it as Iwolo grabs the back of his leg.
They're under no obligation to stop St. Louis.
Very much agree. And then Feiwo trying to slide in Dakers. Instead it comes for Dikwa. Now Kadeem
Oh,
Dakers
penalty.
going down, and the referee is awarded the penalty. Absolutely spot on, Gary Bailey. It's a clumsy challenge there from the substitute Igbokoye. And John Freeman awards a spot kick, and St. Louis can equalize from the penalty spot.
Well, credit St. Louis for just keep on going here even when they're struggling and time is running out. But yeah, it is a clumsy tackle, no question on that, on Dakers, and referee's given it. He's not going to change his mind. I guess there'll be some question as to whether they should kick the ball out for the injured player, but they're under no obligation to do so.
As Iwolo now receives the treatment. And did you see who had the ball in his hand? Sam Fink.
Is he going to take the penalty?
He's taken them before this season. Part of his 3 goals in the league to go with his massive goal in the cup. And there is the substitute Igbokoye, who's come on, the Nigerian, 31 years of age.
It's frustrating. You come on to try and secure the lead, not to lose the lead. And it's just a rash moment. Sometimes it happens when you're not into the flow of the game. You don't quite read it. You don't think quick enough. Once you're in that penalty box, here's the injury, by the way. It's going to come. Where does it come? I didn't see where it came. Maybe it was in an earlier. Yeah, just felt it from an earlier knock. Nothing nasty about it. Just the coming together of legs. But what a crucial moment now for Sam Fink to get the equalizer. And wow, St. Louis dug this one out from nowhere.
And the referee now saying, get the stretcher on to carry him off. And for Sam Fink, a lot of time in between the award of the penalty and the taking of it. Fans getting anxious.
It's never easy for a penalty taker, no doubt. As he was walking out there, Tembaka said a few little words to say. I certainly would have. You know, something like, I know you always go to your left, or I know you go to your right, or just anything to make the striker question what he's going to do.
And Iwolo needs to be helped off in a significant way. Austin Pancho has come on. The native of St. Louis, Missouri, against his hometown club. And it is Iwolo who will make way. But first, Sam Fink to take the penalty. Sam Fink, in second half stoppage time, has had a good week.
If he scores.
Can he do so again? Sam Fink from the spot, sends the keeper the wrong way. And the hero on Wednesday night has the equalizer in the league. St. Louis 2, North Carolina 2.
Calm nerves from big Sam Fink as he steps up to take that. Nothing to keep it to do. Tembaka goes one way, Sam Fink goes the other. And they get this equalizer out of sheer will and determination. Look at their side footing to the opposite side of the goal. The keeper goes. The keeper's going to go to the keeper's right. Ball goes to the keeper's left. And they're on level terms. And that's just pure determination and willpower from St. Louis to battle back in this match. I thought they were done. I thought their legs had finished. I thought that North Carolina were good enough to see this out. But is there a chance of a winner for either side still?
Now then, Austin Barnes to play the crossing towards Dikwa. And it was a dangerous one on that near post. Was there a touch to it from a North Carolina FC player? There was indeed. That goal from Sam Fink, delivered by Domino's. And now you have a minimum of 5 minutes to be added on here at the end of the second half. Anywhere will do for Comcia. As we are in second half stoppage time presented by Paycor. Need more time in your business? Contact Paycor to handle your payroll and human resource needs. What a finale this could be. St. Louligans on song again. Big, strong ball towards Matt Painter, and comes out for the goal kick.
What a good game we've had here. When it started, it seemed very tight, like two boxers just, trading a few soft punches to see where the weaknesses were. But as this game's gone on, it's turned into a wonderful game which has tested both sides, two of the best defenses in this USL, both conceding 2 goals so far. As if there's a third still to come. And, I'm sure both managers will walk away very proud of what their teams have put in here today.
Pulis wants to see it put in play quickly, which shows what he's thinking. Let's get 3 points here. We need it at home. Camden Fewo over the top, headed away by Guillen. Now Hilton racing to win it back. Trying to poke it for Dakers, and it came to him, Kadeem Dakers. Now under his right, Kadeem Dakers, long distance effort. Took a nick on the way through, and Tambakis couldn't hang on. It's a corner.
It's a long-range shot. Possibly could have done a little better than that, but look at the Lewis Hilton. He was dead 10 minutes ago. He could barely run. He gets the ball to Dakers. Dakers gets a shot in, takes a deflection. Keeper sort of fumbles that a bit. He won't be happy if this corner leads to a goal. Will Tambakis? Lewis Hilton aiming, I guess, for Sam Fink.
What a moment that would be. An electro savings corner for Lewis Hilton. And Fink was threatening. Fink there! And it took a deflection on the way through. Otherwise, that could have been a heroic moment. Now shouts for a penalty as Dikwa went down. Clearance comes only as far as Austin Martz. And it might still settle here in the area. And the referee is going to award a handball against St. Louis FC.
Wow, for the St. Louis fans, how's your heart doing at the moment? That ball was bobbling everywhere. I thought Sam Fink was going to get it on the end of that cross and score the winner. It just seemed to miss him.
I think Albert Dikwa might have had a fair shout for a penalty as we have a look.
Ball gets whipped in so well. There's Sam Fink. Oh, it just doesn't quite reach it. Is there a penalty there?
Zig Makoye again.
It's a worthwhile shout, but without VAR, it's got to be a clear-cut penalty, and it was hard to... Oh, trouble.
A dangerous ball there from Boehner. It came off of Yamakani Chester, but thankfully came straight to Gomez. Sends it high in the air. Dikwa just trying to touch it on its way. Came off of Duvernay, who will keep it in play. Miller. Spies. North Carolina FC looking for the goal now. Stephen Miller. Now Smith. Graham Smith, Duvernay in some space. Poking it through. The well one back here by St. Louis, now a bend. Is there one last chance on here for St. Louis FC? Gaia Bend to slide in Austin Martz at full stretch. We've had the minimum of 5. Martz now comes for Gaia Bend. Can he hit the right cross? It's lofted in. It'll come here for Lewis Hilton. Strike on the way through. And there's the full-time whistle. What a finale we've had here at the Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. It finishes St. Louis FC 2, North Carolina FC 2.
A brilliant finish, and the players, the St. Louis players, are out on their feet. It wasn't just one of them went down, Lewis Hilton. Look at it, he barely stand. In fact, there's a few North Carolina players down as well. Both sides have given absolutely everything in a magical match. We've had the most exciting of finishes, which, to be fair, St. Louis were the more likely to score at the end. Wow, brilliant. Both teams, both managers can be super proud of their players this evening. And if those St. Louis fans turned up after the wonderful cup win to see if they enjoyed soccer, enjoyed watching St. Louis, I hope they're going to go away pleased with what's happened here tonight, because they've been given great entertainment.
And those players have certainly earned an extra day's rest in the week after midweek cup performance. Sam Fink scoring the penalty in the 91st minute. We had a few chances towards the end as well for St. Louis FC, but the spoils are shared on the evening. North Carolina FC remain unbeaten in 6. For St. Louis, still just the one win in their last 8 in the league, but harsh to criticize them for the performance on the night. When we return, we'll have full-time highlights and much more. Your Edward Jones final score, St. Louis FC 2, North Carolina FC 2.
excitement that is sweeping the nation has arrived in St. Louis.
It's a goal! It's Cicerone!
Fans are loving the authentic soccer experience. Tailgating, cheering, chanting, and much more. It's a party you won't want to miss.
Goal! St. Louis FC! Hit a goal! Fan welcome Victor!
Get your tickets at stlouisfc.com.
That's it. Exactly. You tell him.
At Everett Jones full-time, St. Louis 2, North Carolina 2. These fans that came out tonight certainly had a show to behold. It was a tremendous second half. To not bring you our full-time highlights at the end of this one. Chris Whittingham, Gary Bailey here on commentary of this one. And let's start first in the first half. Lewis Hilton trying to beat Alex Tampakis at his near post, but into side netting in the end. Here would be the goal that opened the scoring for North Carolina.
What a header from Iwalo. Absolutely brilliant. Decent ball in from Miller, let's say, but Iwalo heads it back the way it's come. No chance for Thomas Gomez in goal. Great finish.
And Iwalo would have his goal, have a message in his shin pad as well. Into the second half, St. Louis would start to create the chances. A great ball through there from a bend for Albert Dikwa.
Ben, fantastic to even see Albert Dikwa, to find him at the right pace. And Dikwa had just come on, by the way, as a sub. He scores and they're all level.
And then the chances would start to come thick and fast for St. Louis. The delivery there from Greg Cicerone, unable to get to it at the near post. Here Dikwa going down, shouts for a penalty. Those look fair for me.
Yeah, not a bad shot as well. He got a bit of a kick on the back of his leg, was enough to bring him down. Cicerone with a fantastic strike across. Dikwa forces the keeper into a save, which he sort of fumbles, but great effort from Dikwa, and eventually Tampakis dealing with it.
And here would be the second for North Carolina. Duvernay, Miller, both in far too much space, and Miller with taking a wicked deflection off of Fink.
Unlucky deflection, but as you say, given far too much space, and that was the fault there from St. Louis. That gave Miller time just to set things up, and they were suddenly on the back foot, but they didn't give up. And then this crazy penalty given away on Dakers by Igbokoye, and up steps who?
The hero, Sam Fink, to make it 2-2.
Brilliant. What a game. And that wasn't the end of it, by the way. There were a few chances at the end. The stats showing that St. Louis had more shots on target, which is amazing because at halftime it was mostly North Carolina. So they've come back well, St. Louis, in the second half, position 50-50. And given how good North Carolina are, that's a fantastic effort by St. Louis to get a point from this match.
Especially at times how tired they looked in that second half after playing in midweek in the Cup, playing in midweek in the Cup in the previous week, and still maintaining this league schedule. It has been difficult times for St. Louis, joyous times as well, but in terms of the effort required from the players, St. Louis eventually digging out the result, and it finishes on the night. St. Louis 2, North Carolina FC 2. What a night, and what a week for these fans that have come out to the Worldwide Technology Soccer Park and seen a tremendous result in the Cup, and tonight a cracking game of USL soccer. And that'll just about do it for us here on this broadcast for our terrific crew. As first, we want to bring you our Pleats man of the match, Sam Fink, stepping up to the penalty spot. And why not? After your week's work, earn yourself a man of the match. And it's brought to you by Pleats Cleaners, as selected by our broadcast crew. Follow St. Louis FC on Twitter to vote in the Pleats Man of the Match poll. For our tremendous USL crew and my broadcast partner, Gary Bailey, my name is Chris Whittingham, signing off from a tremendous game of USL soccer. It finishes St. Louis FC 2, North Carolina FC 2.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.